Hello and welcome back to Versus. We're doing Canadian Highlander again. And it's a very special episode, indeed, because not only is my usual co-commentator away, we have subbed in an expert Canadian Highlander, an expert player, an expert Canadian Highlander person. What do I want to call you? We've got James joining us.
Yeah, it's usually the Canlander dad, or now Canlander ringleader has kind of caught on since you've started with that.
Oh, the ringleader. Okay, I was considering granddad, but I thought we'll stick.
I'm not that old. It's okay.
All right, and today we've got Mark playing Mardu Pyromancer against Grace playing Food Fight. So Mark's playing a red, black, white deck that is got 4 pointed cards. We've got Demonic Tutor, Mox Jet, Mox Ruby, and 4th Eolingus. Deck's doing Mardu things, making tokens, being aggressive, casting removal spells, getting in. Do you want to tell us about Grace's deck, James?
Yeah, so Grace is on a Food Fight version. Any of you watch kind of North 100 will have seen a similar type of deck that Surge plays on there, but she's done it a little bit differently. There's a blue splash in here for Oko. Pointed cards for her are a couple of Moxen, a Jet and an Emerald, and a Demonic Tutor, because it's always good to have a second copy of your best card. And it's just a lot of artifact synergies, trying to get some life gain synergies, kind of overwhelm. A lot of the times I've seen Grace win, it basically looks like she's playing Commander. So, see how she does.
Nice. Lots of permanents on play.
Yes.
We start with a Duress.
Game objects deck. But thankfully, from Mark's point of view, it does look like there is at least a target here, which is good because there's not always in this deck.
Okay.
So, Toxic Deluge is a good one. Obviously, Food Fight can gain a bunch of life from all of its food, so the paying life element of Deluge not so bad, and always nice to have a Wrath, especially when you're playing against an aggressive deck like the Pyromancer deck.
Yeah, this is going to be super sweet for Mark to know that that's not there anymore.
I know Mark's very happy with having that Art of Duress as well. He's a favourite saying of his just having a dragon shout at you.
Okay, got
So
you.
he'll always pick that art every time.
How very Mardu.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, Grace's opening hand, like, not super fast. Looks like she was on a mull to 6, if I can do maths correctly by adding up cards. So got the adventure side of that witch to cast, but hopefully some more cards could be drawn to sew this up a bit, because Mark might have an aggressive start. Okay, that's not a super aggressive start, but it's a very powerful card.
Yeah, definitely. I know this one for sure. You don't want to let this one get out of control, but what can you do about it?
Exactly. Okay, just the end step. Tempt with treats for the poisoner, because might as well have the resource rather than not. Hopefully a good 2-drop to follow up with.
Ah, we got one.
Mary, yeah, and Mary's a good solid one. Like, it's one of the probably kind of a bit below power level for the format in general, but the synergies it has. There's so many halflings in the Food Fight deck because of the Lord of the Rings stuff. So potentially a lot of value to be had here if she can get it going.
It's really cool the amount of support that like halflings and food got from the Lord of the Rings set. I wasn't sure when you print a set like that and it's got all of these sub synergies and stuff, whether you can build a 100 card deck that kind of supports that. The archetype.
Yeah, it definitely like. Yeah, this is the archetype. The Food Fight like artifact token archetypes have been around a little bit, but they were very much like certainly not kind of tier decks, but they've got a lot recently over the last couple of years. Lord of the Rings is obviously one of the most powerful sets they've printed, even including Horizon sets, right? So not surprising to see obviously Bowmasters, One Ring, that type of stuff. But even these uncommons and these high synergy pieces have a part to play as well.
Oh, there's a big part of me that just loves seeing the cards that wouldn't make it their way into any other deck as well. I love it.
It is sadly dead though. Red ball there. So that's exactly what Pyromancer deck wants to do, right? Ideally, it would have some pressure to start getting Grace's life total down, but it's a lot of removal, a lot of burn, just kind of churning through the deck, getting the value, trying to put you under pressure. Just really needs a creature, but once that, we'll start doing some work.
Yeah, something with prowess, something that rewards you for casting the spells that you want to cast.
Ooh, this is a good one. No, this is what I mean when it sometimes feels like Grace is playing Commander. Academy Manufacturer, a very powerful card if you can start making some tokens off of it.
So when you make a clue, food, or treasure, just make all of them instead.
Although one good turn deserves another. One of pointed card, 4th, very powerful, kind of fairly recently put onto the points list and definitely deserving of it because I've had someone who just went Mox, land, 4th me for 1 on turn 1, and I definitely lost that game and it wasn't even close. So this is going to be a tight one based on this, but the card advantage is going to be huge. But it looks like Grace will be able to get it back with the manufacturer as well, so potentially a bit of bouncing back and forth for the crown here.
I wonder whether that's one of the big considerations for Grace piloting the deck, of knowing that there's life gain coming, but you can't go too low, especially if somebody's going to try to go wide.
Yes, exactly. And Mark didn't really have a choice but to attack. Like I believe 4th Lingus only gives you the monarchy if something deals damage to a player. It does, yeah. So both of those had to swing, which meant he knew he was losing it to Grace the next turn, but I have to hope he can keep putting more pressure down to just keep getting back, keep getting the value, and eventually kind of outpower her, as it were.
Interestingly, I was looking through, as I've started getting into at least watching and commentating on these Canadian Highlander games, looked through the points list. This one surprised me because I didn't even recognise it at all. It wasn't in a limited set, so I ain't got a clue what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. It's an interesting one, 4th. I remember when it came out, I was like, oh, I could put that in a token set and it would be pretty good, I'm sure. And then you just played with it once, twice, you're like, oh, this is a real card. Yeah, this is a real card. It's like as soon as you'd seen it in action, you're like, oh, this is a lot of power and toughness and damage and the monarchy kind of out of nowhere from the most aggressive colours, right? So
yeah,
it's got to be.
This Farmer Cotton seems to be doing a bit of an impression of 4th Aerolingus.
It is a little bit. Sadly, these tokens aren't tutus, but she is making a hell of a lot of them. This is Academy Manufacturer showing the warping effect it can have. This is a lot of extra resources, kind of out of nowhere, and still making 3 more bodies. You know, so hopefully there's obviously this trample on the 4th Aerolingus tokens. So, but there's a chance that Grace might be able to protect the monarchy next turn. Has 2 extra mana from the 2 treasures, so you never know.
And the Jite to get counters has to hit. Is that right?
It has to deal damage to anything.
Okay.
Our stacking of the clue here probably implies that's not going to happen. But she's probably going to be, encouraged to trade off anyway, because the Jite is just going to wipe out all of these 1/1s so fast.
Yeah.
You might as well try and get the value while you can.
Exactly.
The Grace pretty much empty-handed now, apart from the card she drew off the monarchy. So that's been. You wouldn't expect it to be this way in terms of who's curving out more aggressively, but obviously a lot of value.
They're coming in.
Yeah, and it does look like she's at least considering the trade. I say you almost might as well anyway, because they're all dead to the Jite afterwards. But no, just taking it all.
Interesting that she just takes those, knowing that. Yeah.
Yeah, this was going to happen anyway. So she does have more of a board, but so does Mark, obviously. And maybe valuing the fact that Mark's deck is super full of removal anyway, so you might as well kind of make him maybe make those cards kind of stuck in his hand, but still it's a rough one to have to try and fight against a Jite and a monarchy. So she's got to hope for a bit more token generation off the top of the library now, I would say.
Are these decks that these two play regularly? I tend to ask Kieran similar questions of like, do our players know what they're up against in these matchups?
Yeah, they certainly would do at the minute. Like Mark's been playing Canlander and Nottingham for as long as there's been a community. Like me and him were there kind of right at the beginning, like 5 or 6 years ago now. And I think Pyromancer probably wasn't his first deck, but it's certainly an early deck and one he plays a lot because it's a really good deck. Grace is the kind of person who tends to have one that she plays for quite a while, and the food fight has definitely been the one that she's been piloting a lot recently. So there's a bit of a known quantity here, and you can see like all of the meta stuff. She's even spent time like hand painting her own tokens, so there's definitely a level of dedication to this deck. So.
No kidding. Yeah, they look great.
Has got the monarchy back, which is obviously good. And again, you don't want to lose a manufacturer in any kind of blocking anyway, so it makes sense to be that's the one that's getting in for damage.
Sweet.
I will play the Shadowy Backstreet.
Shadowy Backstreet. The Surveil land's also really we talked about Fourthling as being a little bit of a surprise about how good it was, but the Surveyor ones all over the format, super powerful. I know people on 4 and 5 color decks who are playing Surveyor lands over Triomes just because of that extra value.
Yeah.
So they've been impact.
I think that's been the case for those cards since they were printed, right? People weren't necessarily expecting them to be quite as strong as they are across all formats, really.
Good amount of value on this Bowmasters here. Mark saying it's my turn to play Lord of the Rings cards too, and getting the extra value. That's one of the nice little things you can play around with the monarchy, like Bowmasters, Hullbreacher, cards like that just kind of punish your opponents when they try and have the monarchy and stuff like that. And getting that extra bit of value is really powerful. 4 bodies to again guarantee getting the monarchy back here is a real big swing.
Yeah,
Caracas is a really powerful card against Grace's deck. A lot of legendary hobbits in this deck.
I've seen a few already. Like, got Merry, and I suspect Samwise is in here, and
there's Frodo's, there's Sam's, there's Merry's, there's Pippin's. I think Farmer Cotton might be a legend as well, if I remember rightly. And a Vindicate is a big draw to get the manufacturer that was getting rid of that value. Mark's starting to get into his groove now of having pressure and just being like, kill that, kill that, kill that.
Block here, and before damage, one sacrifice this. I'll Besage you, the Umazawa's GT.
Nice. Besage you on the GT is a clutch one.
Needed to go.
Yeah, and it at least means future creatures that Grace draws aren't dead. They can just trade in, the traditional manner.
How are we doing with cards in hand at the moment? Looks like Grace is on 1.
A couple for Mark.
Mark's got a couple.
Yeah. So Mark's definitely kind of in the driver's seat at the minute, but there's a lot of like onboard resources for Grace in all of those food and those clues. There's a Poisoner in Exile. There's 2 cards in her hand by the look of it. So she's got resources. It's just whether Mark gives her the time to use them, basically. Taps out of Caracas as well, which is not nothing. If there's value to be got in the interim, that would obviously be nice.
Is that's normally like a grown card, right? Caracas.
It is a little bit, yes. I've got a deck that's full of legendary creatures. And just collapses in front of Caracas. Like it's a 5-color deck that has to run Strip Mine and Wasteland because it just collapses. Waste Caracas, very powerful land. There's an auto include for me even in 2-color decks that aren't white. I'm just going to put Caracas in because it feels like it's just good enough.
You can just treat it as like a colorless land, and wow.
Bit of life gain there from Grace. Looks like she might be poisoning. Yes, so poisoning, getting a bit of value, getting rid of the Bowmasters hopefully here. Yep, finishing that one off. So safe to draw cards again if she can get the monarchy back, but again under quite a bit of pressure. And the 3/2 doesn't look great into a bunch of 2/2.
I was going to say you really want that 1 extra toughness on this thing. I know the lifelink's going to save a little bit of time, but still goes.
Looks like she's missed the land drop this turn as well, so obviously starting to go into the devil and deals with the blocker. So starting to run out of time to use these resources. This is another haste threat that will be bad.
A disguised creature, love it.
Guys, so you almost certainly know this one. Should have drafted it within the last 12 months. So.
Oh yeah. So you want me to name what it is?
Yeah, I want you to make a guess based on the Pyromancer without checking any deck list.
I mean the one. I hope it's a green card. Because
it's probably not a common that makes you get you.
I want. That was my favourite one to play in Murders of Garland Manor.
That's fair. Very fair. I mean, there are a few of them that get played. The unblockable equipment one that I can't remember what it's called now. It's a cloak of some kind that makes an unblockable cloaked creature. Ooh, this is good though. Getting the manufacturer back is good.
Nice. So that's the reclamation, is it?
Yeah, Savine's Wreck is a really powerful card. The fact that it gets back lands as well is really sweet, but the flashback mode getting 2 things back as well. So there's a lot of value in there. And if you just are given the time to do it. But again, I can't quite. Oh no, yeah, still no land drop. It's nice that she moved her hands almost as if in response to that. That was
She's
still
listening.
No land drop. Yeah, just lifting forward in time. Yeah, and that's just rough because again, there's maybe a food or a clue sack here, but again, the life totals are dwindling, and the 1 ring.
That's gonna probably do it, right?
I think Mark's saying, I see your cute synergy cards from Lord of the Rings here. Have the 1 ring Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah. The One Ring Orcish Bowmasters 4th.
Yep. Just the power level of that set being really, really highlighted by what Mark's putting out there.
I really enjoyed drafting that though, that set, to be fair.
Yeah.
Loved
I
the...
don't think I appreciated it at the time, but
Right.
it was, looking back on it, like, you know, I don't have positive opinions about some of the recent draft sets.
Yes.
So looking back at it now, I'm much more yay about it.
Yeah. I think the Tempted by the Ring just made it a very good environment. Oh, we've got a
removal here's
swords.
good. Swords, yeah.
Gain some
So
life.
less damage. And something else. And a path. So all of the 1 mana instants. So still taking some damage here, but down to 2, I think, if I can do addition correctly.
Yes.
Assuming that there's no
That's
other
right.
So it's not looking great. There's quite a lot of points of, well, especially 3 damage in Mark's deck. And
I mean,
2 people.
Mark's got the Monarchy and the Ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Grace definitely needs some kind of.
Good to know.
I don't really know what she needs right now, but she definitely needs it.
Some whatever it is, it's gonna have to be good.
Yeah, there's might be some. I don't know if there's any good stuff for her to serve Wreck back. It doesn't look like it. Again, with only having 5 mana, she's just really struggling to get extra. Oh, okay, we get to know.
Okay.
Oh, it's the Pace Paris one, isn't it? Yeah.
Ah. You get to discard and then redraw up to 3. Red's favourite way of drawing cards.
Yeah, so Mark's Pyromancer deck definitely has the most ways I have ever seen in a deck of discarding your hand and drawing 3 cards.
Really?
Like, yeah, I feel like almost everyone that's been printed he's got. He probably doesn't have the raccoon one from the new set yet, but maybe that's not good enough. But
I mean,
still,
I feel like a boss whenever I do that in Limited.
yes,
I'll play this Verdant Cascade.
that's super. But I mean, it all goes back to like
Sabine's Reclamation.
Ox of Agonis and Theros.
Yes.
That was the first
Yeah.
time. And then, you know, that made like Anya's Ravager, which is a weird card of madness, which kind of synergizes with it and is good and aggressive.
And then I'll bring back
We are having the Sevrek. What are we getting?
We've got the lifelink creature.
Rampacious Guest.
And we've got the Rapacious Guest. So again, it's just
Just
bodies.
blockers at this point, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of like it's good because she's not dying.
It's buying time, but not
Yeah.
allowing. It's not coming back into the game. It's just delaying almost, isn't it? Especially
Exactly.
considering the extra draws that Mark's getting.
Yeah, she really needs kind of a big high impact card that can maybe 2 or even 3 for 1 mark, and also just kind of hope
But like
she can
one's
take
basically
the
same as 2 now.
Monarchy back. And, fetch to 1 as well is somewhat daring when there's no sacks available. I guess 1 and 2 are much for muchness at this stage. From
Yeah, Grace has just said exactly that. What's the difference between 1 and 2? We know you've got lightning strikes and shocks or
I'll
Uh,
whatever.
play this Delighted Heart. Okay. Sego.
the light path thing just to really double up on those bodies. It'd be awkward if he draws like, was it the lava spike, or lava dart or something like that now? But still, I suppose lava dart. would do
Oh,
it.
the one just to do 1 damage.
Yeah. I mean, lava dart would have done it from 2, but lava spike would Spikefield Hazard, Spikefield Cave, something like that. I can't remember what it's called. You know me in Redburn.
Is that the land one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a Mox.
Mox, nice prowess trigger on Codebreaker if that becomes relevant.
It doesn't have haste prowess. Yeah, okay. It doesn't have trample.
But yeah, it doesn't look like there's any great attacks here, but it almost doesn't matter because, you know, 1 life, the Monarchy, the 1 ring. I mean, all the things you said.
Yeah.
We'll discard some cards and draw some
Well,
more.
here we go.
We'll just-
You said it. Well, this is just a case of digging for something that wins on the spot, I suspect.
Yeah, pitching 2 creatures there, 2 good ones as well, Ragavan and the Mentor. But when you're on 1 life, a 1/1 token's as good as, I don't know, Ulamog. So
Ah, there we go.
Lightning Helix. No, there we go.
He dug just about deep enough.
Oh my god, it's Lightning Helix. Yep.
Oh my god.
I made a lot of tokens there.
Not too surprising. There's so many points, so many cards in Mark's deck that say deal 3 damage. And again, Grace just struggled with not really getting past, not really being able to do lots of things on a turn all that often. Like having all of those food and clues just sitting on the battlefield without having had time to use them is unfortunate.
Yeah, Mark knew all he needed to do was dig, and he would find the win.
Exactly.
So I have a question for you while they're shuffling, which I hear you Canadian Highlander players love doing.
A lot.
So you started playing Canlander, what did you say, 4 or 5 years ago? Was it longer than that?
It was definitely pre-COVID. I want to say like summery, autumny,
Okay.
2019, something
All right.
like that.
Just before.
Yeah.
So what got you into the format? How did you like? Because it's a decent community that you've got in Nottingham for a format that's not played that widely globally.
Yeah.
So how did you
So
get
it was
into it?
interesting. Yeah, Mark was one of the ones. Actually, he was one of the ones who's kind of pushed it. Mark's a really big Loading Ready Run fan, and Loading Ready Run obviously a big proponent of Canlander. North 100 is probably one of the biggest places for content, for reviews, for matchups, podcasts, etc. So he was really kind of enthusiastic about that, and he's just spent a long time trying to convince people to play, and eventually just got enough people to agree to try it out. I mean, a bunch of it. First time I went down to the first event, I basically took a Dragon Lord Silumgar commander deck and shoved Silumgar into the 100 and took Command Tower out, and just kind of went. And it's just it's grown a lot recently since we moved over to kind of being more proxy friendly, because obviously we're a community-led project. We do rent space out of the local kind of LGS to play in, but we're not an official sanctioned events or matches or anything like that, so we can be proxy friendly. That's kind of enabled a lot more people to get into it who couldn't before, especially Nottingham's a big student town, so not asking students on minimal income to fork out for Moxon and dual lands and stuff like that.
Allows people to experiment a little bit more with decks as well, I suppose.
Exactly. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, I'd really like to play this artifact deck, but I need Academy and Workshop and this and Mana Crypt and Moxon and whatever. You can just give it a go and try out. So that's what's helped us really kind of push and grow, and it's kind of community feel that the Dice Cup has as well from Limited. And it's a similar vibe to Canlander. Everyone's very friendly, everyone's very chatty, very social.
Yeah, sweet.
You'll see from the games you watch how, especially if any games you watch that open in where just non-stop talking all the time.
Oh, we can hear you in the background.
Yeah. I've started positioning myself away from the camera if I'm not on, just so I don't get in the way.
Cauldron familiar, hello.
Oh, and it's good old Urborg play, so no one ever needs to comment if they tap a fetch for mana. And again, turn 1 hand attack is a really powerful thing to have, and there's a manufacturer there as well. An interesting shout might be Frodo, because Frodo is an inbuilt 2-for-1, so he goes and gets the Sam.
Got you. And that comes down on 2.
Yeah, but Manufacturer is just such a powerful card, especially in Grace's deck.
It's like, do you take? Okay, yeah. Gone for take the more powerful 2-drop to give you a skip on turn 2.
Yeah, and it was an interesting decision. I mean, obviously Grace still has a 2-drop. There's I think it was the Yoshin Dissident.
Yes. That's not nowhere near as impactful though, I suppose.
No, exactly. Like, it's one of those good ones, it can snowball and accrue some value, but Mark's not that scared of a 2-mana 1/1. Much more scared of the, if any of you have ever seen the Frodo and Sam combination, it's basically 1 mana, gain 3 life, draw a card.
Okay.
Be getting in with an unblockable Frodo a lot of the time. Like, I've seen Sam decks not even caring about food and stuff. Yeah. So it's a powerful combination for sure. So getting that off of it is there's a distant as well.
Whenever an artifact enters, put a counter on something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
So it's good.
It's going to be sweet when you follow that up with the 3-drop.
Yeah, exactly. If you then go like Academy Manufacturing to Farmer Cotton again, you are laughing, because this is going to be the biggest cat that ever attacked you for any significant amount of damage.
The cat's just sat there going, I only meant to drain you for 1.
I'm just trying to eat some food. Oh, but Mark's presumably going to go and get the best card in his deck for this given situation, because that is exactly what Demonic Tutor does. Recently downshifting points as well, DT, from 4 to 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I know you've chatted with Kieran about this before. I share his view that probably more things should be a bit more pointed to, maybe not to reflect power level, but to assist in deck diversity. I think there's so many auto includes in mid-range decks now. Yeah, it just becomes a bit rough for everyone to have a white plume.
Yeah, it's one of those where if you're playing white, then there's a set number of cards that you should probably be playing in the deck. Otherwise, you're playing it as a sub-par version of it.
Exactly. And I do think it, harms deck diversity when I built an initiative deck and purposely didn't play red because I didn't want to have red and 6 and Minsk and do and all of these auto include red cards because I was like, I think white plume's good enough. But if you don't limit yourself in that way on purpose, then you'll just be like, here is every best mid-range creature or planeswalker ever.
Yeah, I get you.
Here's the manufacturer though, so that is obviously we were expecting it. It's going to put a counter on itself from the distant trigger. Make it a bit more, no longer die to a lightning bolt.
That's it, isn't it? There's enough that just does 3 damage to things in Mark's deck.
4's a little bit tougher. Flame Slash probably in Mark's deck without checking just immediately, but there's probably not too many others. Oh, there's no Flame Slash. I'm a big fan of Flame Slash. Sorcery speed, 1 mana, 4 damage.
1 mana, yep.
More hand attack, but it is dead this time. So Grace has drawn pretty nicely, drawn the lands to hit things, but this, I assume, on sack and artifact is going to be bad. Yeah, getting rid of the manufacturer.
It's good timing for that card.
But this is kind of almost the antithesis of game 1 for Grace, where there she had loads of food and treasures and clues and stuff and couldn't do anything with them, and here she's kind of
crying out for some food.
Yeah.
It's parched.
But no cast of the wolf here, which suggests there's potentially something better been drawn for the turn than just getting that.
Does the wolf have flash? Is it not that?
I don't believe it has flash.
Okay.
It might do. I might be misremembering it. It's it.
There was
Soulfire
a wolf that did. Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay.
This one's a good card. This one's especially powerful if you are running Time Walker or Ancestral Recall.
The next time you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand this turn, put that card into your hand. Oh wow, okay. Yeah, you just get to replay it.
Yeah, so it's 6 mana infinite turns if you've got a Time Walk. It's 5 mana repeatable recall, all of those types of things are really powerful. But it is also, the life gain that you will get over the course of time from all of Mark's lightning bolts and lightning helixes. Gaining 6 life off a lightning helix is a little bit silly.
Yeah, I guess Mark might be expecting to take a little bit more damage here, but if this thing sticks around, you get it back with any of your damage base removal.
Exactly, yeah. It's already a good body into 2/1/1s. Obviously, he knows there's a wolf in hand, but that wasteland has got rid of the 4th, mana source that Grace currently needs. To cast it, but the sky to the top might mean. Oh, and there's again Bowmasters coming down and being relevant, not getting the same value out of it as Mark did, though. Unfortunately, to go
Grace wondering where Mark's 1/1s all are.
Yeah. Plenty of them last game right now. Oh yeah, so there's the Moxon with a Wicked Wolf. Getting a bit of value, making the Bowmasters bigger, and I assume this Wolf is going to try and fight down the Soulfire. You'll see how well this goes though.
No, got it.
It goes pretty well. Bit of life gain from the life link and then a full swing. So yeah, without this Soulfire, there's a lot of damage all of a sudden on Grace's board and not that many ways to get it back.
I'll bring this back.
Never mind. There's a 1 mana way to get it back.
Curse of the commentator.
Yeah.
I will stomp the Orcish Bowmaster.
And then
here we come.
Yeah, a good threat dealt with, a bit of life gain from the life link, and then a 3-drop to follow up with next turn that again is on par with the Wicked Wolf.
And Grace is just top decking at this point.
Exactly, and not top decking with any of the synergies, but Mark is down to 7. Just the odd food or 2 from Grace, and that Wicked Wolf is going to be really scary when it's attacking. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Looks like Mark's just drawn another piece of removal though.
Yeah, I mean you have to kind of expect it to a large extent.
Yeah.
Just go with the body.
Makes sense.
Maybe wasn't efficient. It did look like maybe a magma jet. I think it was.
I'll put this prize pig in the bin. Okay.
Prize pig, not what Grace is after.
Turn. I'll pass the turn. Okay.
Again, would be cute if she managed to get the Sam with the Frodo. The pig just sacks every food you ever wanted and untaps itself.
Cool.
Taylor Swift Spear, as Mark, I assume, has named her, as he always does.
Taylor Swift spear.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't understand where a lot of the references in the Canlander community.
Well, I know who Taylor Swift is.
Well, yes, I do understand. Not completely under a rock.
I'll play as Savvy Hunter.
Okay, Savvy Hunter's a nice one. It does have to attack, but it is a source of food. And again, it
It does it
trades.
when blocks as well.
Oh, that's true. I mean, it would. There's no good attack or block that doesn't trade, but it at least would kind of get the ball rolling.
You were
There's
right. It was.
there's the Magma Jet. Yeah. So again, the distant not super scary, but it's not killing any of the super scary things. And again, it represents more counters, so it's better to have it than not. And again, just a little bit of extra life gain, just cushioning Mark's life total a bit more and a bit more as these two armies just kind of stare at each other at the minute.
The scry is going to be pretty powerful as well. Am I right in saying just? I mean, we talked about the surveil lands earlier, but oh, what another? This is crazy. I guess he's just
that life total.
scried, but my goodness, the life total.
And this is exactly kind of what the Axis Mark wants to operate on. Just like, I don't need that many lands. Just keep the board clear, keep on top of things, and just I will eventually get there. And yeah, Birds of Paradise, not what Grace is looking for off the top of the library. Another removal spell here would be very bad. There is another
Oh my
removal spell here.
goodness, that's gain
6
6.
points of life gained, yeah, from a Lightning Helix. And then, yeah, can start attacking in earnest here.
I mean, Mark's been drawing like a boss here, but
Yeah.
to be fair, he has scried one to the bottom.
Play this Rampacious Guest.
But yeah, that just card selection
I will.
has been enough.
Yep. He's just got
See what we find this time.
enough bits and pieces of pressure, but there is just so much cheap removal. Croxer.
Oh, I feel for Grace at this point.
Yeah. And the thing is, again, he's missing the 4th land currently, but you can see a chocked graveyard there for that Croxer to start.
Yeah,
going.
like, it'll arrive eventually, and he's no longer under like any pressure at all.
Yeah.
I'll play as Forest. Swing. So this has Menace.
Super sure why Grace is playing the land out. But
And just swinging, is
Fine.
this?
Yeah, this dies. I make a food.
I assume she's got some kind of plan here.
Pass the turn.
Oh,
there's
maybe
not-
just wanted the food from the
nothing on
Rapacious
hand.
Guest. Yeah, just to try and get some kind of value.
It's like maybe I have a window here where I can take a bit of damage, but make a bigger blocker.
Cling to dust your Cold and Familiar.
Yeah, sure.
So
Think it does.
Here goes the cat.
21.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not super.
Go to combat, hit your foot.
You had to play that card in standard at the time,
I get hated.
because there was so
Yes.
much of this escape shenanigans going on with Croxers and
End of turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on Rampacious
And the
Guest.
cat, right? Cat Cauldron was
Cat, yeah.
if I remember rightly, got banned. I'm not a huge standard player, but I
yeah.
feel like
It
Cauldron-
was a major problem in standard. You couldn't really interact with it. Like I played Demir Control and I main decked like 3 copies of Cling to Dust because that's what the format was like.
This Surgeon.
Surge.
Surgeon's not a bad one. Again, more points of life gain to try and stay alive, but again, Grace is getting close to the bit where she's just kind of staying alive rather than trying to do anything. And there's the
As Urborg's in
4th
play, tap
land.
this for black.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark not even having to tap it because of the
Bring my
Urborg.
Croxer. So exiling.
I suppose if Grace thinks the Croxer was coming back anyway, I suppose it makes sense to play the land out regardless.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 of cards.
But there's a lot of damage on Mark's side of the board now.
Free life.
There's a good chunk of life gain on Grace's, but not as much as you'd
Go to
like.
combat, attack the Swiss Spear.
I will sacrifice this
A
food.
little bit of a conservative attack, especially when it's going to get eaten by this 4/2 Sir Ginger.
Trigger on Sir Ginger.
That's probably just a mistake, right? Not
Yeah.
realizing what Sir Ginger does.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's not that played a card,
I will.
but It might have. I think I don't know. Mark's a better player than I am when it comes to this aggressive style of deck. You know me. I'm not great.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but that might have been a swing everything mode. It felt like for me. But again, Mark's in a good position here, so he might.
I was
going to
say, like, when both players are similar on resources and Mark is quite far ahead,
I play 2.
it still feels like a bigger attack would have.
I will play this Sorin of House Markov.
Maybe it makes more sense if he doesn't know that what Sajinja does. Sorin is a 1/4 lifelinker.
Yes, and it is. Again, when it comes down as part of the synergistic curve, is a beating because it's
Okay.
got extort on it, so a bunch of life gain. And I've seen Grace, dome people to the face for like 9 damage with the backside of the Sorin as well.
Ah, okay. This is the Planeswalker on the
so-
backside.
Yeah, it's one of the flip ones from Modern Horizons 3. Has got the thirst trap art as well, which I definitely appreciate, just to kind of give it a little bit more
Why not? Why not?
vibe. Yeah,
I mean,
Just,
that's what Sorin's there for.
exactly. Just scaled it up a little bit from the Crimson Vow artwork, so he's going whole hog.
Just in case you didn't know what I was here for.
Yeah, exactly.
You do now.
Like, if it wasn't for this Croxer, Grace would look somewhat stabilizing now. Like, there's good blockers. There's a 4-power blocker. There's a 3 toughness. 4 toughness, isn't he? So yeah, 4 toughness blocker. It's just that Croxer. That
Yeah.
Croxer is.
It's not like Mark's
Problematic.
got the Monarch or anything like that. It's not like
Go to
the previous
combat,
game,
attack with Croxer.
but
Trigger,
yeah.
discard a card.
I lose 3.
Here comes the
Crocs,
Titan.
Crocs is an issue.
Bolting you for 3 on
I will
attack.
block with Sajinja.
Okay.
Before damage,
I get a bit of value here by sacking the
tap,
Sajinja.
tap, sacrifice
Getting a
Sajinja
bit
to
more
gain
life.
4 life.
Okay.
The blocks.
That doesn't have to
But
be.
again, definitely a
I'll gain 4
Treading
life,
Water
I'll
campaign
save
needs a
7.
big 2, 3, 4. Swords would be a nice thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Need to get that off the board because I suppose double blocking it just comes back again.
Exactly. Yeah, you want a sword, a path. She might be playing Prismatic Ending. I'm
Okay.
a big fan of Prismatic Ending, and again, only at 2. That one's good enough. She is playing Prismatic Ending, so that would deal with it as well. And I think it's interesting though. It's part of the. It is fun to build around a theme like this food fight stuff does, but you
Yeah.
lose a lot of the typical mid-range cards that you would just have access to.
Yeah, makes sense.
Great, but it'll do. I'll play this
Just
1,000
slamming a 4-drop here.
Oh, this was
So when it enters the battlefield, I make a
bonkers.
white gnome soldier
In limited.
creature token with
Yes,
this creature's
this was a bit of a groan test. And then
Yeah.
beautified
Oh,
numbers.
100%.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, I hope I've got my disenchant.
Yeah, 4/4. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, I can tap 5 untapped artifacts or creatures I control if I do transform it. Then it transforms into a land that when I use this man to cast a...
Oh, I think Grace is just explaining
Yes.
the myriad of words that are on that.
So when this flips, it turns into a land that creates one of these scaling gnomes whenever you cast an artifact. Use it or creature or artifact, I think it was, using the land. It's just bonkers.
I will...
Yeah, and so this is a better construct, and constructs are huge in this format. Obviously, sagas and mostly sagas, but occasionally people play Khan and other little bits and pieces. But again, a food value here. This is starting to be scary. It's
we might
just
get there.
Yeah, if this thing can get big enough to eat a Croxer, and she can stabilize with more food generation, I could see it. And the guest having Menace getting in and making foods is potentially powerful.
It's a potential route in, that's for sure. Like,
Yeah, just needs an answer for the Croxer really.
Untap. Draw.
To hope Mark doesn't top deck anything else. Needs him to run a bit colder than he has been doing for most of the game.
Source of Power Share.
No, the wrong person drew that from what I was describing.
we wanted Grace to be drawing the Chef Swords.
It doesn't matter, I can't cast it.
This one,
Oh.
That's okay.
So what's happened here is Grace has just said that she didn't actually have double white, so she cast the 1000 Moonsmithy when she couldn't,
Dear, oh dear.
Right.
which meant, I guess, if that can't come down, the pressure's too much. But it's a shame shame for it to end like that. It was a really good match, but
Yeah, it did look. I mean, she was in a rough spot even with the Smithy, having lost the gnome, but without it, yeah.
yeah, great. Well, thanks for joining, James. Catch you
No
next time.
Thank you very much. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.